I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Used to lose, built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back to go over the games today, February 10th, 2024. Another exciting slate of college basketball. I don't got as many games for you. I got 8. I got six power conferences and 2 mid-majors. I know one of the 6 involves a mid-major, Gonzaga, Kentucky. But before we talk about it, I like to ask that you leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel, helps the network. This channel, Carl Talking College, is my channel by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. But anybody you think that you know that would like college sports. Also, we have shows like the main show, the Refuse to Lose main show. We went live yesterday, gave Super Bowl predictions. That's featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. We have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. I don't know the next time that they're going live. I think he's going live today. I'm not 100% sure on that. We have Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs. Just be on the lookout for his next show. We got Kings Talk, who just went live not too long ago, talking about the Kings. You know what I'm saying? He had a show about my boys. My boys did that to him. We got Dave's Doghouse, who had a special Wednesday. Great show Wednesday. He makes dogs and put dogs in the doghouse. We got RBO featuring Vaughn, which he go live Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at noon. And last but certainly not least, and if I forgot your show, I didn't do it on purpose, we have In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Fast Cam. They go live every other Sunday. They went live last Sunday, so I believe they'll go live next Sunday, not tomorrow. But please, man, just leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the network grow, helps the channel grow. Listen to a couple videos, and if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, we got to talk about these games. I got an hour into the first one, so I'm going to kind of be in and out, maybe 30, 40 minutes. And the first game, the 12 o'clock slate, it wasn't no crazy games with crazy implications. So I ended up going with the Big Ten game. As y'all know, I'm a Michigan State fan. So I went with Wisconsin at Rutgers. I'm trying to find it to pull the banner up. Here we go. Wisconsin at Rutgers on Big Ten Network at noon. Wisconsin's favored by 3.5 points. Wisconsin is led by AJ Storr, who's averaging 16.85 points per game and 3.4 rebounds per game. Stephen Craw averaging 10.9 points per game and 7.5 rebounds per game. And Tyler Wall, who's averaging 11.7 points per game and 5.6 boards per game, had his career high against Purdue. Their key bench players, as I mentioned in previous shows, is John Blackwell and Connor Esigian. They are currently on a 3-game losing streak, including losing to Michigan on Wednesday on the road. And Chucky Hepburn, he's only scored double figures 3 games in 2024. The games include Nebraska, the Michigan game, and I forgot the other one. I think it was the game before Purdue, which was, I can't remember who they played. But he's only scored 3 times in double figures in 2024. Now Rutgers, they're led by Clifford Omoruyi, 10.9 points per game, 8.9 rebounds per game, and 3 blocks per game. So a lot of blocks for the big fella. Andre Hyatt averaging 11.4 points per game and 5 rebounds per game, and Mowat Mag 9.6 points per game and 3.9 rebounds per game. Now their key bench players are Jermichael Davis and Gavin Griffiths. They won their last 2 games though. They beat Maryland and Rutgers their last 2, and they're 35th in scoring defense, only allowing 65.4 points per game. So they're a really good defensive team there. And it's tough to get a win at the rack. But with that being said, I think Wisconsin finally ends the drought. They finally end the 3-game skid because they are inching closer and closer to getting in that middle of the pack, 7-4 in Big Ten play. They're getting right there to where they could blow their double bye. They've realized they have to realize that, and I think they do, and they get a good win against Rutgers at the rack. So I'm going not Rutgers. I'm going Wisconsin to beat Rutgers. Then next, we got my Michigan State Spartans, Illinois, 10th ranked Illinois at MSU, 2:00 on CBS. MSU is favored by 3.5, which is a surprising line. I understand we're a really good home team, but to be favored to me was a little questionable. Excuse me. Illinois is led by Terrence Shannon Jr., 20 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, and 1.1 blocks per game. Marcus Domas, again, continued to step up, even with Terrence Shannon returning. 15.7 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, and 3.5 assists per game. Coleman Hawkins, 12 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, and 1.2 blocks per game. They won 5 of their last 6, and they're 25th in scoring offense, averaging 82.5 points per game. So that is tremendous. This is going to be a tough task for the Spartans, who are led by Tyson Walker, 19 points per game, 3 assists per game, and 2 steals per game. Malik Hall, who averages 11.3 points per game and 5 rebounds per game. AJ Hogard, who averages 11.2 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, and 5.2 assists per game. Now for MSU, I put our X factor today would be Trey Holloman. He's going to be needed defense on the perimeter to facilitate the ball. I think he's going to need to actually score a bit today to help us. So my X factor in the game is going to be Trey Holloman for MSU. MSU, while 1-5 on the road, is 12-2 at home, which could be the reason why we are favored. And with that being said, I am going to take MSU at home to get their revenge. I know MSU lost a tough one in Champaign to Illinois earlier in the year, but I think at home things change in that Breslin Center. It gets a little loud in there. It gets a little tough to score. I think we win a close defensive game. I take MSU over Illinois because we also have to keep pace. Took a loss to Wisconsin at the Barn on Tuesday night. The Barn's a tough place in the Big Ten to get a win. Minnesota's not a bad team this year, so that's a tough spot. But MSU, we have to rebound, getting closer and closer on that bubble. This would be a nice resume win here, and I think we take advantage. Next, I have TCU at Iowa State. Iowa State is favored by 7.5 points. I've said it before, man. Iowa State at home is just a different animal. TCU is led by Emmanuel Miller, 16.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, and 2.9 assists per game. Micah Peavy, 11.5 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, and 2.8 assists per game. Travion Tennyson, 10.1 points per game. Now, Jameer Nelson Jr. is to come off the bench. He's been coming off the bench lately, as Chuck O'Bannon is coming off the bench the majority of the year. They've won 3 out of the last 4. Has TCU. They lost also at home to Iowa State by 1 in overtime, 73-72. But that was at home. Now they're on the road, where I say Iowa State is a different animal. Iowa State is led by Tammy Lipsey, 13.5 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, and 5.6 assists per game. Keyshawn Gilbert, 13.9 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game. And Milan Milosevic, 12.9 points per game and 3.3 rebounds per game. They come into the contest winning 4 of 5 of their last 5, including the win against TCU. And they are 13-0 on the year at home, so undefeated at home. Like I said, just a different animal. And they're a half game back of Houston because Houston got the extra game in the Big 12. So they're trying to keep pace with Houston, which Houston plays Cincy later today. But I'm not talking about that game today. But they're trying to keep pace with Houston to try to win the regular season Big 12 championship, which is huge because the Big 12 is one of the best conferences. I would say the best conference in the country. So it would be huge for Iowa State. Really tough defensive team. And with that being said, I'm taking Iowa State in this one because of their defensive tenacity, because they can disrupt offenses, and they can score. So it's not like they can't score and they just play defense and they hope to keep you in like under 50, 60 because they're going to be under 50, 60. No, they can put up 70. They can put up in the 60s, 70s, maybe 80s if they have to, but they normally don't. I don't know if they touched 80 this year, but I know they can. TCU, they're different on the road. TCU can get stagnant at times. I think that plays in the Iowa State's hands. So I'll take Iowa State in this matchup to win the game and keep pace with Houston. Which, by the way, they own the tiebreaker with Houston because they beat Houston and Iowa State and Ames. So I'm going to take Iowa State in this one. The next game I got for y'all, North Carolina at Miami. North Carolina favored by 3.5 points on the road. North Carolina, as y'all know, this game is at 4 o'clock on ESPN. As y'all know, North Carolina is led by R.J. Davis, averaging 21.2 points, 0.3 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, and 3.5 assists per game. Armando Bacot, 14.3 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and 1.7 blocks per game. And Harrison Ingram, 12.5 points per game, 8.9 rebounds per game. UNC is third in the country, by the way. Coming off of a heartbreaking loss to Clemson, just could not get over the hump against Clemson. The big fellas, they did do their thing against UNC. Like I just thought I would get better from Cormac Ryan and guys like that. Cormac Ryan had a horrible shooting night. Joe Girard went stupid. He had a crazy night. Just a heartbreaking loss. They're also 136 in scoring defense, averaging 70.3 points per game allowed. So not particularly great for a UNSC team that's kind of veteran-led. R.J. Davis, Harrison Ingram, Mando Bacot, Cormac Ryan, all those guys are vets. So not even kind of, they're really veteran-led. So not good. The only lower classman on the starting five is Elliot Cadeau, the freshman. So Miami is led by Norchad Omier, 17.6 points per game, 9.8 rebounds per game, and 1.5 steals per game, which is really good for a big fella. Matt Cleveland, 14.2 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game. And Nigel Pack, 14 points per game and 3.7 assists per game. They're 11-2 at home, so really good at home. Not so good on the road. And they're coming off of a blowout loss to UVA. Believe the score was 60-38. Only putting up 38 points is terrible. Just a bad night. UVA was just, they sunk their teeth in defensively from the jump, and Miami just could not figure it out. They're 178th in scoring defense, averaging 71.7 points per game allowed, but 65th in scoring offense, averaging 79 points per game. With that being said, I'm taking UNC on the road. Miami defensively is just not going to cut it. It's not cutting it. I think R.J. Davis has a huge night against Miami. Now, Nigel Pack is going to have to try to match R.J. Davis, but I just don't see it being enough. I think RJ has a huge night. I think Harrison Ingram has a huge night. I think Armando Bacot, he might not have a huge night, but he might have like a regular day at the office. Nigel Pack, maybe having a nice night. Matt Cleveland, I think Matt Cleveland is going to do his thing, but Norchad Omier is going to have a tough challenge going against Bacot. I'm going to take North Carolina on the road to win. My next game, I have the rare February non-conference game. Gonzaga at Kentucky, 4 o'clock on CBS. Kentucky is favored by 4.5 at home. Gonzaga, they came off a win. They did have the Saturday loss to St. Mary's, but I think they bounced back and beat Pacific. I think that's what it was. But Gonzaga is led by Graham Ike, 15 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game. Anton Watson, 14.8 points per game and 7.6 rebounds per game. And Ryan Nembhard, 12.4 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game, 5.8 assists per game. 71st in scoring defense, 67.6 points per game allowed, and 24th in assist-to-turnover ratio with an assist-to-turnover ratio of 1.54. So really good at taking care of the basketball. Pretty decent scoring defense. But they're going against an explosive Kentucky team led by Antonio Reeves, 19.7 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game. Rob Dillingham off the bench, averaging 15.5 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and 4.1 assists per game. And Trey Mitchell averaging 12.3 points per game, 7.6 rebounds per game, and 3.1 assists per game. Now, as I said, Gonzaga is 24th in assist-to-turnover ratio. Kentucky is 3rd in assist-to-turnover ratio. 1.83 assist-to-turnover ratio. Takes care of the basketball. dishes out a lot of assists. And not only are they third in assist to turnover ratio, they're number 1 in the country in scoring offense, averaging 89.7 points per game. Kentucky likes to get out on the open floor and run with those guards, chuck up threes at times. Well, a bunch of times. They do chuck up threes, but they make a lot more than they miss. Kentucky's just a real explosive basketball team. And for that reason, I'm going to take Kentucky at Rupp Arena to win this game. Gonzaga, like I said, Saturday, one of the weaker Gonzaga teams we have seen of late. Not to discredit Gonzaga, is just not the Gonzaga of 2017, 2020, or 2016. None of those teams. This team don't remind me of that. While Kentucky, they're, like I said, they're explosive. They score in bunches. There's no deficit I'm afraid of with Kentucky. I know you're going to say, Carl, the South Carolina game, cool. We're a really good defensive team. I think we're like top 10, top 15 in scoring defense in the country. I don't believe Gonzaga is not. Gonzaga is 71st. So there's a difference there. But, man, this Kentucky team is real explosive at home, tough to beat. I'm going to just roll with Kentucky in this one. My next game I have for y'all, a huge matchup in the Big 12. 13th ranked Baylor at 4th ranked Kansas, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Baylor is led by Ray J. Dennis, 13.8 points per game, 6.4 assists per game. Jacoby Walter, 14.2 points per game and 4.5 rebounds per game. Jalen Bridges, 10.7 points per game and 4.6 rebounds per game. 12-1 at home with a 2-2 road record. So drastic difference between home and on the road. They're currently on a 3-game win streak, but they are currently on a 3-game losing streak at Allen Fieldhouse, which is where the game is. Kansas is led by Hunter Dickinson, 18.9 points per game, 11.1 rebounds per game. Kevin McCullough, 19.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 4.6 assists per game. And DeJuan Harris, 7.7 points per game, 6.7 assists per game. To me, their X factor will be John Furphy shooting on the perimeter. Trying to score on the perimeter will be huge, trying to keep pace with this Baylor offense. Kansas, while they come off the heartbreaking loss to Kansas State led by Tyler Perry, which was a banger of a game. I went over it Tuesday and I previewed it on Monday. They are undefeated at Allen Fieldhouse as well, 13-0, like I said, on a 3-game win streak against Baylor at Allen Fieldhouse. So with that being said, I'm going to stick with the home team. I'm going to take Kansas to win this game. Enough said with the home winning streak as well as being undefeated at home. So I think Baylor, they got a tough matchup ahead. I think Kansas gets done. I think Hunter Dickinson has a huge game. I know what's his name? Yes. Excuse me if I mispronounce it. I know his last name is Missy, and it's Yves, and I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing it. Yes, Missy is a really good, explosive big man. He's really good defensively, but he has his hand tied with Hunter Dickinson, who can score from the perimeter down low. He's a 3-level scoring center, so he's going to have his hands full with Hunter Dickinson. I think that goes huge. I think Kevin McCullough goes huge. I think the Kevin McCullough, Jalen Bridges matchup will be huge, as well as DeJuan Harris and Ray J. Dennis and Jaden Nunn and whoever they decide to match him up with. But I don't know. I don't know who Kansas is going to match up him with, because KJ Adams on Jalen Bridges and Kevin McCullough on Jaden Nunn. Who knows? But it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm going to roll with Kansas, the home team, on this one because of all the things I've said. We move on to my mid-majors. Now for the mid-major love. We have another rare out-of-conference game. Now, this is why am I blanking on the conference acronym? MAC versus Sunbelt Challenge. Jesus, I can't believe I'm blanking on MAC. MAC versus Sunbelt Challenge, and we have Akron at JMU, 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Akron's a really good basketball team led by Enrique Freeman, the big fella, averaging 18 points per game, 18.5 points per game, 13 rebounds per game. Ali, the guard/forward, who in my opinion can do it all for Akron, averaging 15.7 points per game, and Greg Trimble, 9.8 points per game, 11-0 at home, 6-2 on the road, so not too different home and road. I mean, of course, you're going to take your road slumps. It's harder to win on the road that way, but 6-2 is a really good road record, and they're currently on a 3-game winning streak, 19th in scoring defense, averaging 64.3 points per game allowed. Really tough Akron team to score against. JMU, led by Terrence Edwards Jr., 16.7 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, guy as well for JMU that can do it all. Score, this the rock, play defense. He does it all. TJ Biggerstaff, 13.6 points per game, 8.8 rebounds per game. And Noah Friedel, the shooter, 12.6 points per game and 5.5 rebounds per game. JMU is 11-1 at home, and 8th in scoring offense, averaging 85.2 points per game. So this is the battle of wills. What's going to give up? Is JMU scoring offense going to elevate this game, or is Akron defensively going to be able to disrupt JMU on multiple levels and bring that scoring average down a little bit? I ended up rolling with JMU. I've been high on JMU since the beginning of the year. JMU took a couple bad losses, but you're going to get that with a team. It's barely that with a team, It's barely teams that go undefeated. Even when we had Kentucky of recent go undefeated until the semis to the Final Four. Final Four against Wisconsin, which they lost to Wisconsin. It's tough, man. It's tough to go undefeated. So didn't expect them to go undefeated, but I do expect them to win this game against Akron. And that brings me to my last game. Boise State at 22nd ranked Utah State, 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Boise State is led by Tyson Degard, 16.1 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game. Chibuzu Agbo, 14.4 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game. Omar Stanley, 12.8 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game for the big fella. And Max Rice, in my opinion, is the X factor for Boise State. He's a scorer. He's a bucket. He's going to be huge in this Utah State game. They last played Utah State a couple weeks ago, lost 90-84 in Boise. Now have a chance to redeem themselves on the road with Utah State is led by Great Osobor, 18.7 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game. Ian Martinez, 13.8 points per game and 3.6 rebounds per game. And Mason Foslev, 11.4 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game. 10-1 at home, tied at the top of the Mountain West Conference for the first. They're tied with New Mexico, another great Mountain West school. And they're 9th in field goal percentage, 49.5% per game. With this one, I think Utah State sweeps Boise State. I understand Boise State had 2 good wins, but then they had a loss in between that. Can't remember who. Utah State is a really good basketball team. After losing their coach ended up, I think he ended up going to VCU. But really good basketball team in Utah State. Obviously, really efficient basketball team, 9th in the country. Field goal percentage, I think that helps today beat Boise State because efficiency and points is going to be a premium in this game. Boise State kind of wins low-scoring games. Utah State will take this one. Now, that's all the games I have for y'all to go over. I do want to get in some final words. Yesterday was a small slate, 3 games, 1 being a blowout. But the 2 games before the Colorado State-San Jose State game just were amazing. VCU upsets Dayton at the crib in Richmond, making Dayton lose to its second Richmond, Virginia school in the A-10 on the road, lost to Richmond. Their first loss in the A-10 on the road at Richmond. Now loses to VCU, another A-10 school in Richmond. So Dayton and them Richmond schools, man, something about them. DeRon Holmes. You know what? I'm not going to say that. This is what I'll say. DeRon Holmes gets a key block down 49-47. They push the ball. They try to play it out. Don't really get anything. So 10 seconds, they call a timeout. It was the play they ran after the timeout. They get the ball in bounds. They get it to DeRon Holmes. DeRon Holmes fakes a handoff, gets to the cup, shoots a running floater away from the basket. He breaks it. VCU gets the rebound. The game is over. In my opinion, if that was the play call, which maybe VCU, it looks like VCU might have interrupted it because I can't remember if it was Nate Santos, but it looked like they was running a play for him for 3, and it just got disrupted, and DeRon Holmes took out his do-it-yourself kit and just couldn't do it. If that was the play, then great defense by VCU, but if it was always to fake for DeRon Holmes to have a chance to run at the basket, might as well just let it play it out. Maybe post up DeRon Holmes, and maybe he could have operated better there because they've been sending a double at him. They were sending a double at him, so he could have posted up, get the double, and now try to kick, maybe a backside cut, something like that to tie the game and force it to overtime. But nonetheless, great defensive effort by VCU all night. They won 49-47. Last 3 minutes of the game, there was not one bucket scored. DeRon Holmes hit 2 free throws to bring it within 2. Was it DeRon? I think it was DeRon or Nate Santos. But either way, somebody hit 2 free throws to bring it within 2, and not a point was scored with the last 3 minutes. Second game. Nevada and San Diego State. Nevada played a hell of a game. San Diego State played a hell of a game. Now, that game went to overtime. Great game. Nevada shot poorly from the line. It almost bit them in the behind with actually both Jada Ledee and the big fella for Utah State both missed critical free throws towards the end of the game to send it to overtime. And then Keenan Blackshear missed 2 free throws to put Nevada up 2 at one point. It's just that San Diego State couldn't take advantage. Can't remember who scored the 2-point bucket. I want to say it was Trey Coleman who scored the 2-point bucket to put Nevada up with 12 seconds. And I don't know what Darion Trammell was doing. He walked the ball up the floor down 2 with 12 seconds left. Did not put San Diego State in a great position to get a good look to send in the double overtime or win it. He took a bad shot for the game, missed it. And that was your ball game. San Diego State takes a loss. Nevada gets a huge win, maybe even a quad 1 win to help their resume for a tournament opportunity. Shout out my boy Joe. Appreciate you for watching the show. But just 2 great games on Friday out of 3. So I know the slate was real small. I was disappointed, but man, the way the slate turned out, I was happy. Really great slate. Now I'm interested and excited for today's slate. Tips off in 30 minutes. Hopefully y'all have as much fun as I do watching these games today. I don't know when I'll be back. I'm not gonna lie, tomorrow's a travel day, so I'm going back home tomorrow. So I don't think I'll be live tomorrow. Maybe live Monday or Tuesday, who knows? And plus the Super Bowl tomorrow, so enjoy the Super Bowl. Y'all, if y'all watch the show Friday, you know I'm going with the Chiefs. One reason only. Mahomes. Point blank, period. Oh, yep. Wake Forest does play NC State. Wake Forest is actually favored by 8.5 last time I checked. Could have dropped, could have went higher. Thought that was a big spread, to be honest. I know Wake Forest is at home. NC State got a couple good guards. DJ Burns down low, but hey, man, Wake Forest got Boopy Miller, Cameron Herediff, Efton Reed. So they got a couple. Hunter Silas, can't forget Hunter Silas. So they got some firepower they own. Going to be an interesting game. So that's one of those games where, hey, if you got time, check it out. But that's it. That's all I got for y'all today. Don't know when I'll be back. But until next time, peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.